Let's make one thing clear right off the bat. The Kansas City Royals are not better than the Detroit Tigers. Okay, KC fans, I understand you just got a huge trade that makes your team definitely a whole lot better. When you've had losing seasons out of your 17 last 18 years, I would be excited too if I was wearing a Kansas City Royals hat on my head right now. You have a great young lineup. I respect him a lot. Eric Hosmer is he's going to win some gold gloves before his career is done and over with. He's got a high ceiling, good power potential. He flashed what he can do in his rookie year. Mike Moustakas, he was a great player this year as a rookie. And you got guys like Alex Gordon, who I really like. Jeff Francoeur had a bit of a down year, but, he's bound and determined to boost back up a little bit. Perez is good, Escobar is good. Great, outstanding young core in your bullpen. Probably one of the best young bullpens in the Major League Baseball. Trust me, I know. I see them, Tigers play them 19 times a year. And every time the Tigers play them, they're usually close games. Really close games. One-run games most of the time. So I've saw the potential in Kansas City for a long time. But just because you get James Shields and Wade Davis doesn't make you better than the Detroit Tigers. Now, the Tigers, I heard someone on Twitter say this yesterday, and it just brought my piss to a boil. He said, at best, if everything falls into place, he could see the Kansas City Royals winning 90 games. Last year, the Tigers only won 88 games. And look at the lineup they had. They had the worst production from a DH in the whole MLB. They had the worst OPS and production, among the worst OPS production out of the right fielder and Brennan Bosch in that revolving door. On top of, they didn't have Victor Martinez. On top of Cabrera, Jackson, and Fielder, and Dirks, he had some hits here and there. He had a pretty good year. Carrying that lineup. Peralta didn't do anything. Avila didn't do anything. You had to have an MVP year caliber. You had Miguel Cabrera, who won the Triple Crown, hit 44 jacks, 330, 139 RBIs. On top of Prince hitting, I think he hit 310 or 313, somewhere right there, with 30 jacks and 108 RBIs. Even with that, in the pitching staff the Tigers had, you have the best pitcher in baseball, Justin Verlander, leading your staff. Nearly won a second Cy Young. On top of Fister and Max Scherzer putting up ace-like numbers. You look at their second half splits, they are comparable with any pitcher in the second half of baseball. On top of Sanchez, his last 8 starts, including the postseason, he was pitching great. He was pitching to a sub-3 ERA. Even then, the Tigers only won 88 games. They are not a threat to even come close to 90 games. I think at most the ceiling is 83 to 85 games. I think they're going to be a 500 team this year. Because Hosmer last year had a big down year. I like Mike Moustakas. And I don't think Hosmer is going to be that low forever. Because I really like that kid. I have no personal hate against the Kansas City Royals whatsoever. I like their young core. And I'll give them props all day. I had them finishing second in the division last year. They will finish second this year. I guarantee it. But I think the Tigers are going to run away with the division this year. Because, you add Torrey Hunter, you're getting back Victor Martinez, you're losing Delman Young. They're an improved team. But you have Eric Hosmer, who had a terrible year last year. Mike Moustakas had a pretty good year. Billy Butler can just mash. He's a Tiger killer. And then, the rest of their team they're a pretty respectable offensive team. But James Shields' ERA jumped to 3.52 last year from I think it was 2.82 the year prior. It's still a good ERA. I'm not going to dog him, but it did jump. That's a pretty significant jump in a year. But he is an innings eater, someone that, has the name Big Game James, Complete Game James. So, definitely an innings eater guy who they needed. I like Wade Davis. He's a good guy, even though he was in the bullpen most of last year in the Royals. But Irvin Santana, I'm supposed to be scared of a guy that led the league in home runs given up and a park that it doesn't yield many homers at Angel Stadium, and he's going to go to Kansas City. Come on now. That right there just tells you the fit isn't that great. Guthrie, he had one of his lowest ERAs in his career with Kansas City and when they traded for him. But come on, a guy that has a 4.28 ERA career and has a whip of 1.3. You're telling me this dude a whole season at a park that gives up a lot of homers is going to be this stud ace? Now, Bruce Chen, he's not that good of a pitcher at all. But if you're talking about head-to-head matchups with the Tigers, he absolutely rapes the Tigers. I don't know what it is. Around here in Michigan, they call him Cy Chen because he just destroys us like no other. But James Shields has bad numbers against the Tigers. They've hit him up pretty good. And, the Tigers have had pretty decent success off Wade Davis, too. So, I don't care that they got these guys. All they did was, they mortgaged their future. Will Myers is a stud. He absolutely destroyed last year at AAA, and I finally figured out why the Royals didn't call him up at the end of August, because they were trying to keep him healthy so they could move him for some kind of starting pitching. Jake Orodizzi, he's a pretty good pitcher. He was a part of that Greinke trade. We got Mike Montgomery as well, and a third baseman. So basically, Shields is signed through this year and has an option for 2014, and I'm not sure how long Davis is signed for. So you just got your two pitchers you needed. They rounded out your rotation. Their rotation is respectable. I'm not going to sit here and dog them that they didn't make a good move in the now. But after Shields and Davis is gone, and say you don't win, even come close to touching a second wild card in those 2 years, it was a failed trade, no doubt about it. They have to win now. And I see why they did this. Their opportune window is this big. That's it. They have no time. Because you think they're going to re-sign Shields or Davis when they're free agents? Come on now, it's Kansas City. They're not a market that can exactly forward a lot of players. They got to build from the inside up. And the Rays, they get Will Myers, who, he lives up to his potential. He was the minor league player of the year. He lives up to his potential. Him and Evan Longoria in the same lineup. He's going to be a good player. On top of they fixed their rotation in the future, and they still got a good rotation. They still got Hellickson and Moore and David Price. So their rotation is still good. Are they going to be a little bit worse this year for starting pitching-wise? Yeah, sure, because they're going to have some rookies. But they just filled their team for the next few years. But how anyone can say that they think the Royals are going to compete for the AL Central title is just beyond me. When the Tigers had clearly the best team coming into 2011 or 2012 last year and only won 88 games with that team, with all the stuff that happened to them throughout the whole year of having terrible production from Peralta, Avila, Young, having a closer that was a freaking heart attack to watch, on top of their eighth inning guy, Benoit, in the second half was giving up leads like crazy, on top of having guys like Quentin Berry sometime was in the starting lineup for 2 months. They had three guys basically carry that whole lineup to win 88 games, and two of the three guys are perennial MVP guys, even though Prince hasn't won an MVP. It took that much for those guys just to win 88 games, and now you add Torrey Hunter, get back Vmart. They're easily going to win more than 88 games this year. And for anyone to say that Kansas City with that team can win 90 games I have no idea. The only way they would win 90 games if Hosmer had an amazingly breakout year. Butler's just going to mash because that guy's a stud. Moustakas stays about the same. Francoeur comes around. Hopefully Perez can stay healthy all year for them. Alex Gordon has another good year, and James Shields goes back to pitching like 2011. Wade Davis can put up the same numbers he did out of the bullpen. Jeremy Guthrie replicates his same year he had in the second half. Irvin Santana goes back to like the Irvin Santana 2010, and that's it. That's the only way they get to 90 games this year. Now, if they do that, okay, I'll give them 90 games. But as of now, you look at all the teams' productions that happened last year, and going over this year, they win no more than 85 games. No more. That's what I'm capping at high. I think they're going to finish 81 and 81. I think they're finally going to have a winning season. That's it. But for anyone to think they're going to win the division, you're beyond me, and they're not better than the Tigers. That's all I got to say, guys.